Everyone told me I was crazy, that a house needs a pitched roof, a concrete frame of columns and beams, and a connection to the grid. Well, fuck that. I'm no hippie. I have no idea how to crochet my own underarm hair into a blanket. My version of vegetarianism includes multiple strips of bacon, tomahawk steaks and Barnsley chops, and a deep fried puffin sounds delicious to me. Until I had my ears cleaned out, I thought that yoga was a character from Star Wars, and I gave up smoking anything but sausages decades ago. But all this craziness is rubbing off on me. Electric cars, fueled by a connection to a coal-powered supply, eco-friendly this and eco-friendly that, with emissions going down and prices going up. Everyone told me I was crazy, that a house needs a pitched roof, a concrete frame of columns and beams, and a connection to the grid. Well, this is a story of how I'm building a house that throws the rulebook out the window using a steel frame and massive canopies to create a home that is practically self-sufficient and challenges everything you think you know about house design. Look, this wasn't about being different just for the sake of it, it's about solving a problem. To me, conventional construction felt limiting, wasteful, and totally disconnected from the environment. And plus, with utility costs going up and the grid being famous for brownouts, I knew that we needed a more resilient way to live. I dreamed of a home that was a living, breathing system, one that works with nature, not against it. A home that would give us comfort, security, and freedom as I move further into my old age and Melody approaches old age. This house design is the result of that dream, a passive off-grid home that looks and functions like nothing else. So today, I'm going to give you a tour and show you exactly why I made these so-called radical choices. I never thought of myself as being a radical. Anyway, section 1. The foundation of the idea, the exterior. The whole story of this single-story house really boils down to 3 big decisions that break all of the rules. The first, and most foundational, is the frame. I choose to build with steel. Now, I know that for a lot of people that sounds more like a plan for a carpet warehouse than for a cozy home. But for me, steel offers a blend of strength and flexibility and resilience, much like myself. And that freedom of design that you just can't get with concrete. As the weather gets more extreme, and without wanting to get into an external debate about what is or who is to blame for that, building for resilience is a top priority nonetheless. Steel gives us way better durability, and as a bonus, it's pest-proof. I'm not a big fan of disturbing nature, but termites can... Though termites lose out, the biggest win was architectural. Using a steel frame means that I can design these huge, wide-open interior spaces without needing clunky support columns everywhere holding the roof up. It's the reason that we can have these massive glass walls that connect to the outdoors. Now, steel does have one major challenge, and that is that of thermal bridging. It's a fantastic conductor, which means it can act like a superhighway for heat to sneak in during the worst of the summer. Now, to beat this, we've had to get really serious about insulation. We will be using an advanced thermal break, which is basically a barrier that stops the transfer of heat, and then wrap the entire structure in a thick, continuous blanket of insulation. It's a ton of work, but it's the only way to make a steel frame work with my second big idea, passive house design. So what is passive house design? Well, it brings us to the most obvious features of the house, which is the flat roof, and with giant 4 metre wide canopies that go all the way around the house. Now, I get a lot of grief for this, or a flat roof in the Philippines with rain and typhoons. Have you lost your mind? The flat roof is not just there for looks, it's a factory. It's a power station fueled by sunshine. A flat roof is absolutely essential for our energy independence. Now, a normal pitch roof would have dictated the angle of our solar panels, and at best halved the available area, because half of the roof would naturally present the solar panels at the worst possible angle. A flat roof gives us a blank canvas, and it lets us tilt our solar array to the perfect angle for maximum sun year round, which makes a huge difference in our energy production. We're also using bifacial panels which capture light on both sides, and the white reflective roof surface bounces sunlight back up to the underside of the panels, squeezing out a little bit more power, especially on bright days. And so this huge clear platform means our solar array is big enough to power our entire lives, with plenty left over to store in the battery bank for nights and cloudy days. The flat roof also works hand in hand with these 4 metre wide canopies, which are the real workhorse of our climate control, and reduce the need for air conditioning. The idea behind the solar design the passive solar design is beautiful in its simplicity. You keep the walls and floors of the interior of the house shaded and therefore cooler. You avoid gloominess by the use of large windows, which also permit cross breezes and all-round ventilation, bringing in air from beneath those canopies, which incidentally is cooler than the air in the unshaded areas. In the heat of a Philippine summer, the sun is high overhead. The canopies become our shield, casting the entire face of the house all the way around in deep shade. They stop that intense summer sun from ever touching the glass, which is the single best way to keep the inside cool. It's a design that actively responds to the seasons all on its own. And so, to section 2, the heart of the home, which is the interior tour. Now, I'm not going to show you all the architect's renders again. But stepping inside the house, the first thing people would notice is how open and bright it feels. And this is where those weird exterior choices really pay off. We aren't forced to use blackout curtains to shield against the furious sun, with the lights on to pierce the gloom, and air conditioning running or electric fans running all over the place. That steel frame that we talked about, this is the result, which is a completely uninterrupted living space that flows from the kitchen to the dining area to the lounge, with no columns, no walls breaking up the view. It lets the light in from the huge windows reach deep into the home, so we barely need to turn on the lights during the day. It just feels connected to the world outside, and you're not hiding inside with the aircon on full blast. Now, concrete floors, which with the sunlight would otherwise become a thermal battery, soaking up all that heat, and then an unwanted night storage heating system releasing all that heat back out again, will be ceramic tiled and cooler than if they were in direct sunlight. Now, in the blazing summer, they stay cool to the touch, which really helps to regulate the temperature, and it's a perfect example of something being both functional and beautiful. Now, every single choice was about efficiency and simplicity. You won't find a lot of complicated, highfalutin gadgets. The luxury isn't gold taps, or as you Americans would say, faucets. It's the quality of the light, the comfort of the air, and the quiet resilience of a home that basically takes care of you. We didn't want anything in this house to be just a one-trick pony, just there for appearance's sake. The windows give us a view, but also light and reflect excessive UV rays. The floor is for walking on, but it's also designed to heat up less than in other properties. The canopies give us shelter, but they're also our air conditioner by cooling the air that surrounds the house, and our covered outdoor leisure space. And that integration is the heart of our whole philosophy. On to section 3, the brains of the operation. I don't mean me. I'm talking about the off-grid systems. Now, living off-grid is the ultimate form of self-reliance, but it only works if your systems are rock solid. The tech room is the nerve centre of our home, the part that no one sees, but that makes everything else possible. Our main power source is the solar array on the roof, but the real secret to having power 24/7 is battery storage. Now, all day long, any solar energy we don't use right away gets stored into these batteries, and that's what powers us through the night, through cloudy spells, through the rainy season, and through any grid failures, which, of course, we won't have to worry about anymore. Battery tech has come so far and will advance still further, and these systems are now incredibly safe and efficient and letting us store enough juice to ride out several days of bad weather without changing a thing about how we live. Our water independence is just as important. We are drilling a well deep into the ground, giving us access to a clean, natural water source. And from the well, the water goes through a multi-stage purification system, sediment filters, carbon filters, and finally a UV sterilizer. Well, now, this makes the water from our taps absolutely pure and safe, without all the chemicals you find in city water. And so having our own water source provides a sense of security that feels more and more important these days. Living this way completely changes your relationship with resources. You become keenly aware of what you're using, and when you're the one producing every watt of electricity and every drop of water. But because we designed the house to be incredibly efficient from the start, it never feels like we're making sacrifices. We plan to use hyper-efficient appliances, and our passive design slashes our need for cooling, for all that, the electric ceiling fans, the standing fans, and for the aircon. It all works together. Our low energy demand is what makes living off-grid not only just possible, but comfortable. It's a closed loop system where the design of the home supports the independence of its systems. And if we move further along from there into section 4, we're planning to have a lifestyle of integration, permaculture, and self-sufficiency. I don't like bills coming through the door. Our vision for this place never stopped at that front door, though. We want the house to be part of a productive landscape that could actually feed us, creating a totally self-sufficient homestead. And that's where permaculture comes in. It's a design philosophy that basically copies natural ecosystems to create sustainable human habitats. It's about making connections so that every element in a system helps support the others. Our garden isn't just going to be a random collection of plants. It's going to be a designed ecosystem. We're going to have fruit trees, perennial vegetables, and annual beds all working together. Our chickens and ducks aren't just for eggs, they're part of the team. Sometimes part of the barbecue. They handle pest control, and their manure becomes a key ingredient in the compost. And that builds our soil, which then grows the food that feeds us and them. It's this beautiful closed-loop cycle that minimises waste and makes the land more fertile over time. We've even extended our growing system by designing in a small hydroponics setup, and its minimal electrical needs are powered by those solar panels, and they let us grow fresh greens and herbs and fruit and vegetables all year long, even in the normally less productive seasons, giving us another layer of food security. This partnership between the house and the land is everything to us. The house provides runoff water, which goes into a cistern to be used in dry spells for the garden. The solar panels power the hydroponics, and the garden provides food for us. It shatters the conventional ideas of a house just being some sterile box dropped onto a patch of grass. Here, the house and the land work together. This lifestyle isn't just about being sustainable, it's about being connected to our food, to the seasons, and to the natural world that supports us. So why did we defy all the conventional standards? Well, because the old conventional standards just aren't cutting it anymore. They give us homes that are expensive to run, disconnected from their environment, and very fragile when things get tough. We want to build something better, a home that's more than just a shelter from storms and bugs. It's a home that's an active partner in a sustainable and resilient life, because we will be on a fixed income. Living here will be an incredible journey. The biggest reward won't be just the lack of utility bills, though. It's this profound sense of security and quiet satisfaction. It's the feeling of the taste of a vegetable you just picked, and the peace of mind that comes from knowing you're living in a way that truly aligns with your values. This definitely is not the easiest path. It takes more planning, more research, and a willingness to question everything. But soon, we'll stand there in a quiet, comfortable, self-sufficient space, and we'll know we made the right choice. We will have proved that a house can be beautiful, modern, incredibly comfortable, not in spite of its unconventional design, but because of it. Our journey won't stop there. We're always learning, we're always experimenting, we're always finding new ways to live more sustainably. If you're interested in following along and seeing what we get up to next, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And we'd love to hear what you think in the comments. We want your suggestions and advice, we want your help. We don't really need your diagnosis that we're crazy, but I think maybe you can answer the question, is this the future of how we should all build our homes? Food for thought. Thanks for watching. Apologies for that.